Well, let's think about what we do know, guys. So we know that nothing is certain, and that almost everything in our reality could be fabricated or made not real, right?
Yes.
What do we know is real? Louis, tell me one thing that you know for a fact is real, and tell me why you know it's real.
Me. Because I'm me.
Okay, why though?
Because I'm existing.
Is it because you know that you have a consciousness and you are thinking thoughts?
Yes.
Okay, who's to say that isn't some sort of, like, you're not a program, or that you're not, like, how do you know that you're a human being, or like a soul, or like...
How do I know I'm a human being?
So how do you know that you're a human being with a brain and not a like a chip, or like a, an artificial intelligence?
I don't really know.
So you can't really guarantee that you're even human. I mean, let's say, okay, you don't put your hand on a stove and you feel the pain of the stove. Do you think that that's like evidence in order to suggest that you're a real person?
Yes. What about when I cut myself? It was really deep.
Right.
I
Okay.
can see the inside of my arm pretty much.
Okay, so what happens when you feel pain? What is happening? Your body is taking damage, and there are neuroreceptors in your body that are sending signals to your brain. Where do you feel the pain? Do you feel the pain in your hand, or do you feel the pain in your brain? Where do you perceive the pain?
My brain tells me that I feel the pain in my arm.
Right. So if those receptors were cut off, let's say that your connection between your hand and your brain was cut off, and you were numb and you couldn't feel pain in your hand anymore. How would you know that you were in pain? How would you know that you have damage if you couldn't tell? What if you got hurt and you didn't see it and you were just kind of bleeding? Let's just say that someone is, oh fuck, literally right on you, bro?
Brandon. What?
What do you mean, Brandon? I didn't see him. You didn't say nothing.
I didn't even know he was there until I died.
Brother, this guy is like pissing me off. Bro, he took that many bullets and a sniper shot? So basically, how do you know you're not in a pod right now and people you're asleep, okay? And people are sending those signals to your brain the same way that your body sends signals to your brain to tell you that you feel pain. All it is a signal. So what if they're sending signals telling your brain, that you are a real person, you are in reality, and you are Louis?
Dude, you're like convincing me that I'm a fucking...
Okay, but hang on, there's a light at the end of this tunnel. I have a positive note on the end of this tunnel, okay?
I don't believe you.
So, okay, to go deeper into the darkness, how do you know that the entire universe or the world wasn't created this morning when you woke up? What's your evidence? Is it the photos in your phone? Is it the history, the ancient history of the people? How do you also know or guarantee yourself that all of that stuff wasn't also created, you know, when you woke up this morning? How do you know that your memories weren't also suddenly created this morning when you woke up? How do you even know that you had a job yesterday? Just because you remember that you did, or you had payroll? How do you know that that job or those people weren't suddenly created yesterday?
I don't know.
The answer to this is it doesn't matter if it was or it wasn't. People always say, what is the meaning of life? And I think that is the worst question to ask, because life isn't more significant than existence. What is the meaning of existence in general? Why do chairs exist? Why do plants exist? Why does Call of Duty, why does everything exist? So not just life. The better question is to ask, why does anything exist at all? What is existence? What is guaranteed? In order for there to be an illusion, in order for the simulation to exist, there has to be something real to create the simulation. So in order for there to be a simulation, in order for the mind to be manipulated, there has to be something real in order to create that illusion. So therefore, the only thing that I know in my entire life that is 100% guaranteed is existence. No, not specifically my existence, but existence in general. In order for, if everything I know is an illusion, if everything I know is fake, which I don't believe that it is, but if everything was, I know for a fact in order to create that illusion, there has to be something real to create the illusion. Which means...
What do you think it is?
It doesn't matter, because we're gonna get to Buddhism. I take, bro, I take my philosophical thoughts too seriously.
No, I love it.
In order to find like the truth about the world, you have to accept what we observe may or may not be real. So we've already established that everything that we observe with our eyes, you know, our five senses, our taste, our touch, our smell, our everything, our ears, everything that we observe may or may not be real.
Nothing's real. It's all just a concept.
So in order to live a life of truth and morality, I have done a lot of self-searching into what matters in the world, and I've discovered in my darkest moments, we do not matter. In the end, this entire planet will turn into space dust. Our species may be dead before that even happens, obviously. You know, the Earth could be a barren wasteland like Venus or Mercury or Mars in, you know, millions or billions of years, whatever, who cares? The truth is that we also do matter. Because factually, it is true to say that to humans we matter. Because my family matters to me, you guys matter to me, your families matter to you. So therefore, factually, we do matter. Maybe not in the big grand scheme, but the truth is we matter and we do not matter at the same time. So there we have our yin and we have our yang. So everything in life is a cycle. We have the water cycle. Even our cardiovascular system is a cycle. Our digestive system is a cycle. So now that we established all things are cycles, here's the weird truth that I have established in my philosophy that nobody understands. God is and is not real.
You know how many times that even a lot of Christians say that? Because that's what we believe. Well,
Right.
and there's most Christians that don't believe. It's a weird concept because, like, for me, and this is gonna sound kind of dumb, and it comes off that way to a lot of people I talk to, but I also believe that every single religion is the exact same. They're talking to the exact same person.
Well, they have a lot in common. I mean, there's a lot that they don't have in common that I think is really dumb, like the stupid stories. So when I say that God is both real and not real at the same time, that goes toe in toe with the we matter and we do not matter at the same time. That goes toe in toe with the whole concept of we are the positive and negative. It is the good and the bad. Well, I was talking about how, do you know how politically women do not want to be objectified? Right. Okay, because, you know, they don't want to be, you know, a sexual object, which I completely understand and I agree with, but I also disagree with. Again, the yin to the yang. Human beings are spiritual beings to me and they matter. But at the same time, human beings are carbon-based life forms, stupid space monkeys, and they do not matter. So, I am a...
You just call me a monkey?
No! Don't make it a race thing. I am a complex equation of phosphorus, calcium, iron, nitrogen, oxygen, all these various, you know, different things. And I believe that at the same time, a healthy unified understanding of people can be objectified and people should be personified at the same time. I mean, for Christ's sake, we personify all this shit in movies like Toy Story, Cars. I personify things in my life. Like, I used to talk to my tools on the job site. Not like, you know, intensely or any kind of like psychotic crazy shit, but just like, just like little stuff like jokes, you know. But I applied this healthy view of objectification and personification to the universe. So we can objectify the universe and say the universe is a thing, but we can also personify the universe and say that universe is God. And I think at like some healthy understanding that both are correct because we do the same thing with humans. humans really are nature's like machines. We are made by nature and we work like that. We are machines in nature. We require energy. We get that power in our mitochondria of our cell from the nutrients that we eat in our foods.
House cell.
Yeah, we just have to sleep to get our our energy back to basically live our lives. And these are scientific facts that we've made observable.
And in the tunnel.
Heard that. And I know I go off the rails sometimes about the things I talk about, but I just did like logically
Oh, shit, I'm
speaking.
red, guys. I'm red.
But that isn't me just saying go around and start treating people like they're not people. I'm saying go with the understanding that we are more than just people personified. We are also things. We are no more important than chairs or couches, but at the same time, we are more important because we deemed us more valuable because of our morals and our perspectives. So therefore, both perspectives have truth to them, and both perspectives are correct. We are important and we are not important. It is this balance. It's this yin yang. And that's something that I find, there's a lot that I find very fantastic about Christianity, is the concept of faith. Like Bill Burr even said in like one of his interviews, the comedian, like, why worry? Isn't it better to just, live your life thinking that everything's gonna be okay, and when it's fucking not okay, you shut up and you deal with it then. Like, you don't deal with it now, you deal with it when it comes. And to me, that's such a healthy, like, that is like the prime state of mind. And also the concept of forgiveness in death, with like, oh, Jesus Christ taught forgiveness, whatever. But if you think, compare forgiveness and acceptance. What are some similarities and what are some differences to forgiveness and acceptance?
Well, you can accept something and not forgive it.
That is correct. But can you forgive something without accepting it?
I don't know. That's a good
Can
one.
I forgive something without accepting it?
Yeah, accepting that it happened, accepting that,
I mean, I can accept that it happened, but I can also not forgive you for doing that.
Yeah, that's exactly the point that Louis made. But I am saying, can you? The opposite, exactly. Is a square a quadrilateral?
Is a square?
But is a quadrilateral a square? Like no. Oh fuck, bro. A quadrilateral can also be a trapezoid or a rectangle. So in order to have forgiveness, you have to first have that acceptance. So what's the stages of grief? Well, when the stages of grief are like, I don't remember all of them, but there's like anger, and then denial, bargaining, like, oh, please bring this person back to life, please God, bargaining, I'll do anything, take me instead, it should have been me. The final stage of grief is acceptance, and in order to find that forgiveness, you have to have that acceptance. So back 2,000 years ago, during those biblical times, they understood that, which means they had to have had some concept of the very modern understanding of how, death works.
Right. Right there. Lay down. Good shots. Louis.
Nice job, brother. So, what I was talking about, how we kind of established, hey, Gabriel's ass, the universe or everything in the world is a cycle. Like, we have our, I said there's a beginning and end to everything, our respiratory system, our circulatory system, our digestive system, the water cycle, photosynthesis, everything. So I believe the same thing for the universe in a way. Like, maybe there's a beginning and an end, or maybe it's just randomly generated, like all these random collisions in space, just creating life, etc., etc. Let's say, for example, someone goes into a laboratory and makes a clone of me. Is that me?
No. It's a clone.
Yes and no. So you're correct, it is not me, it is not the soul, it is not Brandon Bedwell, but it is me, it's a clone, in a way. But is it made up of the same cells? Is it made up of the same atoms? No, they're different atoms in different cells. It's a completely different body.
from your.
Just the same.
My DNA.
contents.
Right. So it's close, but it's not necessarily the real deal. But people don't think that atomically the real deal matters. They think, oh, the real deal is like, you know, on a cellular level or on a spiritual level. Well, I sit here and think that the atoms that are inside my body right now, and I'm saying the most fundamental thing, I'm not saying my DNA, I'm not saying my soul, I'm talking about the most fundamental, bottom level, ground existence of me cannot be replicated. But what happens to those particles when I die? I decompose. The turkey vulture that was eating my innards is preyed upon by, I don't know, a dog or a wolf. Who cares? So those pieces of me are now transferred into the rest of the world. Do you think it's possible for those pieces to eventually come back together again? Those same exact pieces, every single one of them, to eventually come back together again. It's extremely improbable. It is so incredibly, like, unlikely to happen because of probability. But the fact that it's still probability means that there's still technically a chance. If the world starts again, then in theory we should all exist again. Those fundamental things that I'm talking about, they don't disappear. Literally forever, constantly reused. They're like, energy cannot be created or destroyed. Neither can the fundamentals of existence. The fundamental things that make you up cannot be fully destroyed. The nothing and the everything both exist simultaneously. If everything is a cycle and the ending is only temporary, then that means there is no true ending, which means we should just happen again, which is concerning for some people.
That's what they say deja vu is.
Like, deja vu is like you experienced this before, so it could be like...
So good thing that you brought up deja vu. Now, deja vu, there's
I saw
rumors to
this.
say, there's conspiracies that's out there that deja vu is actually a parallel, like, there's parallel universes.
Yeah, okay, so like the
I
Mandela
know
effect is
one
like,
part
oh, well, a lot of that
talking
time
about
is
where
people
you're doing
take that
it.
too far, but the concept of it is very intriguing. A lot of it is
There's
placebo.
definitely people that out there that it's not even a real thing.
Right,
Because
right, no. This is why when I was starting to talk about Gabriel's Cake, I didn't want to jump into the multiverse concept yet, because the idea of our universe starts, our universe
multiversal
ends.
concept is cool.
Yeah, our universe starts, our universe ends, our universe starts again, and we actually exist again with all of the same fundamental properties in us, making us the exact same, except there is one key slight difference. One tiny detail is off every single time that this happens. One fundamental is changed. And it could be in the form of, your multiverse self, the other Louis. The only difference between your universe and that universe is that there's one singular ant in the ant pile outside of your house that never existed. It could be that tiny of a difference. It could be so impossible to tell if the universe is different. Okay, so the entire time that we've been sitting here discussing this sense of reincarnation, let's not forget that I tried to, establish that God is real and God is not real at the same time. So with this concept of reincarnation, how does this work? Okay, so I had this concept called Gabriel's Cake. Gabriel's Cake is actually a biblical story, but I don't use it for that. Vsauce actually made it very science, and I love Vsauce for this. But he established this concept with Gabriel's Cake that imagine you have a cake, okay, and you are going to cut that cake in half. What changes, but what remains the same?
Well, the change is the line that you put in the cake because you cut it, but
It's now separated.
shape-
Yeah.
Okay,
shape
what
thing.
increases on the cake?
the amount
This
of,
is
The
this is a
surface
weird
area?
one. Exactly. The surface area increases, so now we have more plane of existence to travel on. Now we have more space. think of it like as actual fabric of
Is
space.
it really more though, because you then have that space in between the cake,
Right, now apply
between
this concept to your consciousness before death. Now let's say we infinitely cut the cake in half. The volume remains the same. The actual universe that we are in does not change. But if we are constantly cutting our time in half, okay, let's say you're about to die in 2 seconds, your life ends. Let's say your mind cuts that time in half. You slow time down, right? You start to see your life flash before your eyes, right? You cut that time in half. How much time do you have left? 1 second?
Yeah.
Alright, you cut that time in half. How much time do you have left?
A half second.
You cut that time in half. How much time do you have?
Fuck. I'm not good past a half. Oh, half of a half is a quarter.
Yeah, a quarter.
25.
Do this infinitely, forever. Do you ever reach 0?
Eventually, I would assume.
No, because you're constantly cutting the time in half. So half of a quarter is what, an eighth, and then half of an eighth, a 16th, a 32nd. It goes forever. You technically are you are piercing reality, and you are traveling to that next universe. You are going through the fabric of time, but the volume remains the same. So this concept of being able to enter an infinity, you're entering infinity. So it's weirdly similar how this concept of infinite consciousness scientifically is
Up on the
applicable
roof here.
to like Christianity or like an afterlife. It is weird how applicable that scientific concept is, because it's not like proof, but it is incredibly applicable to say that because of this concept
Okay.
that eternal life kind of made sense.